2, and 1. What's happening, YouTube?
What up?
You back in the building, 2021, with the Life Gang Avengers of Current Culture. It's me, it's the living legend, and it's my folk T Streams. Now, we started this thing as 3 individual black men, married black men. 2 of us got kids in March, in the midst of a pandemic. And we rode this ship out through protests, through lies from the president, through condemnation from white people, through people getting here on my YouTube channel, trolling us, telling us how wrong we are. Well, we got news for y'all tonight. Y'all need to take your asses to Alaska and stay with Sarah Palin, because what just happened in DC is atrocious. And before we dig into it, and we're going to dig into this, because y'all should have never put that bum ass in the White House in the first place. We tried to tell y'all, let's recap in case you missed what happened when rednecks go crazy in America. Take a look at this. Damn.
We're seeing a scuffle develop between the protesters and the police. Meanwhile, up on the steps of the backside of the Capitol, we're seeing protesters overcome the police. The police are now running back into the Capitol building. We have cheers from the protesters that are watching behind the scenes. This is incredible. What was that? We just heard a loud popping noise coming from the back steps of the Capitol. We do not see any smoke. We do not see any indication of where that might have come from.
NBC News now reports there are now protests underway at this moment in Wisconsin, Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, and in Las Vegas. The counting has stopped in Georgia out of an abundance of caution, but the U.S. Senate will continue to do its work. They vow not to leave. This is, this looks like the degradation, at least in this moment, in this flash, in this second of time, like the democracy is teetering, doesn't it?
We know that there were gunshots inside the Capitol building. We don't know how many weapons are in the Capitol building, who has those weapons, and what they intend to do with those weapons. That's going to be a clear question for Capitol Police leadership. The other big question is going to be organization. As you were just talking, Shep, about the protests that we're seeing breaking out in state capitals and areas around the country, some of that happened very early on, right around the time that this event began to unfold in Washington. And the question is there an organization behind this? Are there leaders here who designed this operation and coordinated with people in other states to do that simultaneously? The question of organization and leadership is going to be an important one, because that's how you stop an operation like this, is by finding those people and taking them off the field, so to speak. And one of the things that we saw DC police do earlier this week is arresting the leader of the Proud Boys, the right-wing extremist group. They arrested him on a previously existing charge. They released him, but they told him he was not allowed inside the District of Columbia this week as a result of that arrest. That seems to have been an attempt to sort of freeze the leadership of one of these groups that might have been of concern to law enforcement before anything could take place. Obviously, it didn't work, and now we've seen this event unfold. But law enforcement is going to be trying to figure out what is the intent of the people who remain inside the Capitol building, and who, if anyone, is organizing this, and how they can reach those people and put a stop to it.
Fellas, I'm going to give each one of y'all, you can go as long as you want on this, but I'm going to start there. I'm going to lay the foundation for all this. I'm happy news organizations are finally calling this exactly what it is. This is white terrorism, simple and plain. This was an attempt to overthrow the government predicated by the worst president in United States history. We had a bad one. Hoover was horrible. Buchanan was horrible, but this is the worst one we've ever seen. In the middle of him rallying the troops outside the Capitol, his ass was saying that his vice president has no spine to go in there and do what he needs to do. And as the moment Prince was taking the stage to do what he needed to do, these people stormed the Capitol. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I take huge opposition to this because, number one, you're trying to threaten democracy. Number two, we as Black people and minorities have seen this dance before. It was the Civil War, and we don't want to see this shit again because we know what's going to happen. Number three, I do recall Black Lives Matters had a protest, a peaceful protest in D.C., and you know what they had for them before any of the rioting and all that happened? That never happened. This is what was standing on the Capitol in D.C. for Black Lives Matters. So where was they at today? That's what I want to know. Where was your asses at today? Where was you at when they stormed Michigan? We have severe issues on a day when we're supposed to be celebrating something good that happened in Georgia. Georgia has elected its first Black and Jewish senators in the state's history. We're supposed to be celebrating that. The stock market was going crazy today over that. And then we had the biggest buffoon on the planet who felt like he had to take the air and oxygen out of America and stage this fucking coup in DC. People were shot, and something else that made me mad, and it should make each and every one of you guys mad. You know who office this is? Let me tell you. This is Nancy Pelosi's office. And I can tell you she don't hang out with cats that look like this. That's fucking embarrassing. Let me show you this. This is where they do the addresses to the nation. That is some right-wing hack job standing behind the people's house, and he forced his way in there. Ladies and gentlemen, I need y'all to wake up. I need you to wake up. Now, I know the people listening to the sound of my voice is already woke. But when I got on Facebook and launched some bombs about the way I felt about how democracy was trying to be overthrown by a lawless president, I heard, oh, well, what about Antifa? Or what about Black Lives Matter? And I said, fuck you, is what I said. Antifa has never tried to take over the government. Black Lives Matter has never tried to storm the Capitol. Black Lives Matter has never destroyed property on the Capitol. Black Lives Matter's leaders have never been arrested. It's not the same thing. And now you got people like Sarah Palin in Alaska, and she can't even spell that properly, saying this was a coup by Antifa. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake. The way you quell Trumpism, the police, when they came, they should have stomped Johnson, them people's asses, right there in front of everybody to make a statement. Because if that had been Black people, some of us would be in the hospital right now, and a lot of us probably would be dead. Having said that, Larry, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'll say there's a few things. I know that a lot of people are saying this is white privilege on steroids. These are rioters. We need to stop minimizing stuff and saying, "Oh, this is white privilege. This is the world's biggest tantrum." We need to stop saying all of that. It minimizes what happened.
Exactly.
Donald Trump called for his people to institute a coup. They attempted a coup today. This is not some just random thing where people went and protested somewhere and got themselves riled up and got into a scuffle with the local police. No, they went. They called for people to go to the Capitol and disrupt the legal, the constitutional duties of our Congress to have a peaceful transition of power, a peaceful transfer of power from one president to the other. They went in there and attempted to disrupt that so Donald Trump can remain in office. They attempted a coup d'etat in America, and we cannot let that just go by. We can't just let that go and call it a temper tantrum. We can't let that go by minimizing it and say, oh, this is just white privilege with a bunch of angry, disgruntled white men. No, those people that stormed the Capitol, I am not an advocate of violence, but those people who stormed the Capitol, they should have been shot where they stood. No,
Because
I
they would have shot us.
police officers were drastically outmanned. I understood that they didn't have the support of the National Guard that they needed. I understand all that. But they should have been shooting people where they stood as they had the opportunity to do so. They like you mentioned, they did a test run of this in Michigan.
Yep.
They have protested at other capitals. They are doing this here. They failed today. But that doesn't mean that they are not going to try this again. They may not try it again with Trump this time, but that is not to say that they are not going to try this again. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I just cannot stress this enough. It's just I don't understand how these people can sit up there and try and claim to be patriots while at the same time actively trying to dismantle the United States of America. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I know people up there, Sarah Palin can say what she wants about this is Antifa. I will say this about Antifa. If Antifa had been there, they probably would not have gotten into the Capitol building.
Exactly.
Because Antifa would have been between those fascists and whatever those fascists were trying to do. They would have been there and they would have been fighting back.
Yeah.
They would not have gotten in there. There would have been a brawl. It probably would have been ugly. It would have been violent, but they would not have gotten into the Capitol building.
Nope.
And I'll be honest with you, when I see the way those cops handle, when I see the way they handle those people, part of it is they're outmanned. Part of it is too is that they simply have some sort of affection towards those protesters. They support them on some level because they would not fight back.
Nope.
They ran. They would not fight back. We've seen what happens when police are outnumbered. The BLM protests where they went and attacked the people in front of that church so Trump can go hold a Bible upside down.
Exactly.
Those officers were greatly outnumbered.
Mm-hmm.
But they decided they were going to fight back, and they did. And there was nothing to even fight back against because those people weren't even fighting. They were there merely protesting the illegal killings of Black people. Here, these people are actually insurrectionists. They are actually in the process, the actual process in that moment of trying to overthrow the government of the United States of America. I mean, if there is ever a time for violence, that is the time.
I
hate violence. I was in the military. I hated the idea that I might have been ordered to kill someone. But in that moment when someone is trying to take the power of the United States government away so that they can take it and they can put it in place with racists and neo-Nazis and Confederates, and they can give the power to somebody who should not have it, does not deserve it, was not elected to hold it. Mm-hmm. That is the time for violence. If you're not going to pull your gun and shoot, but you'll pull your gun and shoot somebody in the back 7 times that has a little razor blade that's running away from you, or shoot a kid that's unarmed, but you won't shoot someone who is actually in the process of trying to overthrow our nation? How fucking cowardly are you? I mean, that is ridiculous. And then on top of that, as bad as I feel about the the Capitol Police out there, I mean, as far as angry as I get, I feel bad at the same time. Some dumbass woman went in there and forced a Capitol Police officer to shoot her and kill her. And when I say forced, because we are seeing all kinds of footage of how these officers were doing everything in their power not to violently engage these people. Mm-hmm. So when an officer had to shoot this woman in there, I truly believe that he had no other choice. And now this man has to live with the burden of knowing he took a human life. He has to live with that on his chest. He has to go and have a conversation with his God because this fucking terrorist, because that damn insurrectionist, because that fucking traitor put him in that situation that he had to take her life. Mm-hmm. That shit makes me mad.
Me too.
My dad was a cop. The idea that my dad might have been emotionally scarred because some dumb fucker made him take their life. That shit makes me angry.
Yeah. T-Streams, drop us a line, man. You've seen this happen in your state during the corona and the George Floyds and all that stuff. You've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think?
So, it happened here, a few weeks back. And then the one primary thing that with me is that this was actually foreseen. It had already made it to news outlets and all other kind of stuff that this very exact thing was going to happen. One of the what's the name of that group? The Good Boys? Is that what it is?
The Proud Boys.
Proud Boys, yeah, the Proud
Boys.
They was investigating the guy over that, weeks ago, because he sent out something wanting to disrupt not only this but also sending folks to the inauguration dressed up in Biden get up to cause disruption there, telling people to get tickets by any means necessary. So, of course, this pisses me off because it's a direct assault on our very own civil liberties. And I don't know what that may mean to some of you guys, but to me, that type of assault means that the mindset of these people really want to put our country and run it in reverse. Okay. Yeah. And this right now is really not that there's never a good time for this kind of stuff. And just to think that, you guys label it correctly is, they actually tried to stage a coup like this is some action movie or some third world country, and that's exactly what this was, what they attempted, and they to try to invoke fear to overthrow this thing. And for what? I'm looking at it like this. These guys all over here with these pictures and stuff. Is any of these guys in jail, or are they, so somebody let me know if I'm wrong. Okay. If I go up in Nancy Pelosi's office with my pistol, I'm not making it out that room. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
And so this is where the double standard is. Okay. So it's obviously that these type of things are treated way insignificantly different when there's blacks involved and when there's whites involved. Mm-hmm. I've always said that, I've always been a proponent that, I try not to get involved with conspiracy theories or something, but I honestly do think that we got some crazy folks out here that's really trying to, that really, really believe in, taking us a few steps backwards. So I'll be serious when I tell you guys, hey, pay attention, arm yourselves, be aware of, be aware of what's going on. This incident today should never have happened. All right. It never should have been allowed to happen. And all this, all this stuff with cops and stuff being outnumbered and all this other kind of stuff. I think really, honestly, that's really bullshit. Police know how to do crowd control. We've seen it. Okay. Some of us been in those marches.
Let me show you another picture. Let me show you a picture of crowd control, T-Stream, because this was crowd control for Black Lives Matters.
Yeah. Yeah. So they good, they good at doing that. But today this was their event. So things were a little bit suppressed. And so they allowed the buffoons to go out there and behave accordingly. It's really just a matter of time. They're going to keep trying these things until they feel that they have gained some type of success with it. They're going to keep on trying. They're going to keep trying to push the agenda. And the real sorry thing about this is, out of all freaking people, prior to Donald Trump becoming president, I somewhat half-ass liked him. He was a little ballsy. He was okay as long as he was on The Apprentice and he wasn't in the White House. when he got to the White House, he let his nuts hang a little too tough, and everything just sort of blew out of hand. And you now see that he's not the person. But this, I just don't see. He's not that charismatic to me. That would show me why someone would put their lives at jeopardy, their livelihood at jeopardy, for wanting to follow this man to these type of extremes. It's like some Antichrist shit jumping off here. And it's really hard for me to explain or express myself, because we see this stuff happen all the time. We see similar actions. We see them chipping away. We see them chipping away at our civil liberties, our freedom, our right to be, human individuals, our right to live in a democracy free. We see them chipping at that block every day with something different. And so when is that chip off the old block going to finally crumble? After they hit it so long. And to have a system that's so partial and one-sided, man, it's almost scary. It's almost scary. And so, hey, it's sad, man.
I posted this today, and I want to get you guys' opinion. The minute this happened, I posted this. To all Republicans that claim to love law and order, blame violent protests on BLM and Antifa. What do you have to say about the Trump supporters storming the Capitol to overthrow democracy, causing violence, breaching closed-off Capitol? You have nothing to say except your asses are liars, hypocrites, and anti-American. Larry, did I say anything wrong?
No, I mean that's exactly it. They are all of that. They're anti-American. They're not patriots. They are. I mean, you can't claim to be a patriot when you're running around carrying a Confederate flag. You can't claim to be a patriot when you're running around carrying a Nazi flag. You can't claim to be a patriot when you're upset about an election result, a legal election result, and you decide that you're going to overthrow the government. You can't. That's not patriotism. That is not. I mean, the whole, like, the idea of the Second Amendment was put into place so that the people can defend themselves against a tyrannical government, but it wasn't put into place so that you could support a tyrannical government.
Yeah.
That is not what the Second Amendment is for. The Second Amendment is so that you can defend yourself against one. And these people don't. And I talked to somebody earlier, and I said this is part of the problem with our society today, is that we have dumbed down our educational system so bad, so far, that people don't. For generations now, they stopped teaching critical thinking in the schools. They stopped teaching civics and government, and so people don't understand what this country is, how it's supposed to function, and they don't understand how to think through problems so that they aren't deceived. Because as you can see, there are so many people out there that are so easily deceived and manipulated that they believe all these crackpot QAnon theories. They believe all of these Russian things, that all this propaganda that the Russian trolls put out there. They're so easily manipulated. Their minds are so malleable because they don't have any idea of how to think through problems. So someone says something to them that they believe makes sense. They believe the earth is flat. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, they watch a video on YouTube and they say, oh, well, this video took me to another video. Well, if it's fake, then why are there 100 videos up there? Okay, so if I made 200 videos, does that make my theory more real than the other one? It's lunacy.
Bull job, Larry.
People don't know how to think through problems, and as a consequence, you have a complete evil, blithering idiot that's up there telling people to go storm the Capitol. He didn't even have the decency to give them a plan of what to do once they seized it.
Well, Larry,
so they're in there walking around carrying people's podiums and taking selfies at the speaker's, the speaker's office, and take up there yelling Trump stuff at the president of the Senate's desk. They don't even know what to do once they seize the Capitol.
Larry, me and you know history. Me and you know just how dumb the Confederates were. This is nothing but a repeat of that. The same dummies think they're going to overthrow the nation's government. This is nothing but a repeat of that. But what we need now, we need law and order to crush Trumpism. That's what's going to get people to turn around. We need them to crush them. We need to see 5,100 people in jail. We need them to step a huge foot on this bug that popped up in Washington, D.C. today. That's what we need. T-Streams, how do you feel about people saying this stuff? This was a respondent, and I can't let y'all see what I said to her, but I dug in that ass, and now she's decided to unfriend me. Basically, she's trying to say that we won't say nothing when Black Lives Matter and Antifa was doing this. Black Lives Matter and Antifa have never tried to storm the Capitol and overthrow the government. Let's just call out the facts as we go. It sucks, doesn't it? Y'all don't even want to know what I said. She can suck. So I'll leave it at that. And although I believe it's still the same group, which is not, doing it again, it took us an entire year of y'all's BS. The silent majority are only silent for so long. So accept the fact that it's going to be what it's going to be, point blank. That was the dumbest reply I've ever heard in my. That sounds like a dumb blonde, because she is a dumb blonde. Ain't nothing going to be what it is going to be, because if that was the case, we wouldn't have the progress we've made in this country. That was just a hot-ass mad cunt who's mad that Trump didn't win. She can't tell you why she liked Trump, but Trump's her man. And it's been defeated. And then Georgia won today, which gives Biden every branch of government except for the judiciary. T-Streams, what do you think about people trying to say they're trying to do whataboutism, that what we've seen today equals Black Lives Matter?
You know, you can't, it really don't even make sense to talk to animals, man. And
that's true.
People that make these kind of remarks, man, is clear. Is very, very clear. Yeah, that they are not only part of the problem, but they're the source of the problem and the lifeline of this problem. And the only thing you can do is put give them a nice, good verbal thrashing to put them in their place, because I've dealt with these people on these same type of people, man. And it's crazy because and some of these people, man, I have been like long-term friends with, man. My history, had me run across all people from all, our entire socioeconomic going-ons in America, that I started to see people's true colors. And, I've lost a lot of friendships, man, over comments just like that, and, hey, it leaves you after a while, you just have to say, fuck you, go, bye, because it's nothing else. These people actually believe this stuff, man. And when they believe it to the point where they're very, very compassionate about it, and there's no type of realistic dialogue, intelligent dialogue, that's going to make them see anything different. As far as I see, man, they straight stuck. And it's sad, because we see people that once had clear common sense throw it straight out the door. I mean, you cannot rationalize this stuff and count it off as legit, or as a legit thought process to even think like this. And then to come out, we've had, I know you've had your fair share of social stats and stuff being attacked by these angry rednecks and stuff like that. But hey, it is what it is. I am not a racist person. I can be the first to tell you that. I have white people in my family. I talk and deal and communicate with white people. I'm not racist, but I do think there's a lot of going on, and it's tearing our country apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's tearing it apart. The racial divide in our country right now, because of 45, man, is unbelievable. I was looking through the comments, and I think one of the guys said that Congress should evoke the 25th Amendment, which I think, I know it's close to everything changing and stuff right now, but golly, that would be a good thing to go. They should have been did that. Because
here's the problem with that, T-Streams. That train has left. I'm fine with them doing it, with Mike Pence doing it, getting the cabinet together and stepping in as president, but it's not going to change those people. What's going to change those people is the fear of God put in them being arrested. The same thing that changed the mindsets of the KKK and everybody that has tried to oppress people. You've got to crush them. You've got to stomp them. You got to throw them in jail. They need to be made ridiculed in public like they should have been done today. And that's how you crush them. Do I want to see the 25th Amendment and vote? Sure, because he's probably more dangerous right now because everybody's leaving him. Melania's aide left. 3-4 of the other aides left. And I don't want to hear nobody saying that they're doing this for their country, because if they was really doing shit for the country, they would have left the first year Trump was in office. I don't want to hear nobody jumping ship now that was just about to say they ain't voting for Biden, because if y'all ain't been watching what's going on CNN with them doing the electoral votes, a bunch of people who said they wasn't going to certify the electoral college for Biden have now all of a sudden changed tune. They ain't changing tune because they done had some kind of spiritual country awakening. They changing tune because it looks bad for them to be down with someone trying to overthrow the government. That's why they changing tunes. And so, Larry, I want to get you in on one more point, then I want us to move on. Do you think that now that Biden has a full clip of ammunition to try to right some of the wrongs that have happened to this country, is he going to be able to get 50% of his agenda done?
I honestly, I don't know. I think that the Republicans right now are probably, the Republican leadership is probably so infuriated with Donald Trump right now, because what they probably realize is that the vast majority of people in this country, I think, after watching what went down today, want to see some sort of unity in the government. They want to see the government stand on as one cohesive, unified body and not have a bunch of just bickering and gridlock. And I think what's going to end up happening is that Joe Biden will be able to get a lot of his agenda through, because people are not going to want to tolerate all of the gridlock that normally goes on in DC. I think what Joe Biden should do immediately, because of what just happened, is that if the Republicans will not, if Pence will not sack up and get the cabinet together and decide to invoke the 25th Amendment and get rid of them, then I think what Joe Biden needs to do, the second that he is sworn in, he needs to just whisper over to the ear of his FBI director or whoever and tell them, go arrest Trump and go arrest any of the other leadership people that were in there that were a part of this, and charge them all with insurrection.
Exactly.
And I am not one for having political leaders or political opposition arrested. But here's the thing. I know people often say this is how things are done in banana republics. This is how things are done in banana republics. I keep hearing that phrase, and it's unfortunate. We typically do not do that. But at some point, you cannot let this go. When you have somebody who actually tries to stay in power by calling for a coup and having his people actually go through with it and attempt it, you can't let that go. Nope. You have to prosecute these people.
Yes, you do.
You have to. They need to have some of these groups that is within the authority of of the federal government to declare some of these groups like the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys and whatever other boys. They need to have those groups declared terrorist organizations so that you can go after. Once you do that, you can even declare them a gang. Once you do that, the laws are different. They don't have the same rights as everybody else. You declare them that you declare someone a gang, they can't even get more than 2 of them together without it being an actual crime. I mean, there's a lot at their disposal, but they need to go ahead and start declaring these groups for what they are. They are terrorist organizations. They're actively trying to take down the United States government, and they need to be treated as violent, hostile forces. Yeah. Like, I truly believe that if you're in DC right now, there's a curfew at 6 o'clock. If you're in DC and you're out there protesting, they should just start arresting people. And if you don't want to be arrested, then they should be shot on sight. They have already tried to overtake the government. At that point, you are no longer afforded the rights and privileges of a U.S. citizen unless you are apprehended alive. You should just be shot on sight.
Larry,
I mean, that's what it is. I know it's effed up, but these motherfuckers tried to take over the government.
Had that been all 3 of us, and we would have went up there with Muhammad, who has a turban on his head, we'd be under the jail right now. We might not even be alive.
I will say this. I don't even want to make the comparisons about BLM or Muslims or anybody else and say if it was Muhammad or if it was BLM or if it was Antifa. I'm not even saying that. If BLM went up in the Capitol and tried to take over the government, I would say they should have shot them motherfuckers too. So we have a way of doing things in this country. We are a country of laws. You don't get to just not like the results of elections. You don't just get to say, I'm going to go take over the government because I don't like the way things turned out. People didn't vote for my guy and now I'm upset, so I'm going to go take over. You don't get to do that in this country. That's not the way the United States works. And if BLM had done that, I would say they should shoot those motherfuckers. If anybody else had done it, I would say you should shoot them. And then just this time, it is a bunch of right-wing white Trump supporters, and those motherfuckers need to be arrested. If they won't allow themselves to be arrested, then they need to be shot.
Yeah,
that is what it is.
Just making my point for me because they would have shot us if we would have done it. But finish it off, T-Streams.
I think you got. I got you. I think you got Samuel L. Jackson beat, motherfucker. Here's some real talk, man. Honestly. I really hate to feel this way, but honestly, I do feel this way. I don't think the police or any of those groups in authority like that will ever do anything. For the most part, you know, some of their ranks are involved with these groups undercover and stuff. And so when we look at the events of the day, those, you know, that stuff wasn't even like contested. You know, it almost looking like in some of those videos. I watched one video and dude was just sort of running up the stairs with the guys, just talking to them while they running through the Capitol and stuff like that. You know, so it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, our answers never get answered through the avenues of the police or FBI or whoever in authority, because they, you know, some of them support this cause. It's not a it's not an incident that the events today was able to go through unattested, man. And so it's just, you know, it's really, really messed up on how this whole thing played out. And, you know, man, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. So, you know, just be ready. I'm not speaking no conspiracy theory into existence, but be ready because the shenanigans have already started. You know, they have the avenue to continue acting the ass, and they're going to do it. And, you know,
so T-Streams, my greatest fear is this: the icing on a horrible cake. When you see this, and you see this bullshit right here in Nancy Pelosi's office, it's not just us watching this. Our enemy is watching this and saying they might be primed for the pickings right now.
If they can do it, we can do it.
Our enemies is watching our own people trying to overthrow our government, licking their chops, probably laughing somewhere. So, folks, be on the lookout. Be safe. I want to take us to a little bit of positivity today. History was made today, fellas. History was made, even in the backdrop of this BS. I want you guys to take a look at this, and then we'll discuss it.
Reverend Warnock, thank you so much for being with us. Congratulations. We heard you overnight, noting the fact that your 82-year-old mother, whose hands picked someone else's cotton, you said, got to cast her vote for her son to be senator from the state of Georgia. What was that moment like when the state was called for you?
Good morning. Listen, this is a wonderful day here in Georgia, and I believe in America. I am an iteration and an example of the American dream. I spoke to my mom last night, and when I think about the arc of our history, what Georgia did last night is its own message in the midst of a moment in which so many people are trying to divide our country. At a time we can least afford to be divided. We've got big problems. And I'm deeply honored that the people of Georgia have placed their trust in someone who grew up in public housing, one of 12 children. I'm number 11, the first college graduate in my family. And I hope to bring the concerns of ordinary people to the United States Senate.
You talk about the division in this country. Given that the race has been called for you, you are projected to be the next senator. What do you think about whether or not it's appropriate for Senator Kelly Loeffler, who still holds the seat, to travel to Washington today to vote, as she has promised to do, to block the election of Joe Biden? Do you think it's appropriate, given the outcome of your election, for her to go?
Well, I think that Kelly Loeffler has been consistent. She has consistently put what she perceives to be her own short-term political interests over the concerns of ordinary people. And the people of Georgia rose up and they rebuked that last night. What is unfolding in the Senate today, or in the House, what's unfolding in this moment is a distraction. It's a distraction. These senators know better. And the people that I'm talking to all across Georgia are concerned about their lives. They're concerned about the fact that they've waited for months and haven't received the kind of COVID relief that they need. We need to be passing the $2,000 stimulus relief checks. Instead, the politicians are focused on their concerns, who's winning and who's losing. Meanwhile, too many ordinary working people are losing. And I'm deeply honored that they've given me a chance to go to the Senate and represent their concerns.
So today, ladies and gentlemen, they called the race for Jon Ossoff. He will be the first Jewish American to be a senator in Georgia. The race was called yesterday, really late last night, for Raphael Warnock, Reverend Warnock, and he will be the first African American senator in the state of Georgia. And all the credit, most of the credit, has got to be given to Stacey Abrams, because she could have ran away when she lost to Governor Kemp, but she didn't do that. She said, I got a refined purpose. I'm going to get people registered. I'm going to get the vote out. She helped flip that state to blue. And Larry, I give it to you. What does it mean to you to see all this stuff come together in the backdrop of Trump really depressing the Republican vote in Georgia?
Well, I mean, again, it means that Joe Biden should be able to get his agenda through, a lot easier than if we hadn't won those two seats. As soon as they announced that, that Ossoff won that seat, right after that, Biden came out and said that he was appointing Merrick Garland as the AG. I'm not sure if that was a pick that he would have done previously. I mean, personally, I hope Merrick Garland goes in there. I hope Merrick Garland is fucking pissed. I hope he's carrying such a big ass fucking chip on his shoulder. It weighs him down. And I hope he dedicates his entire stint there to going after these racist ass Republicans that kept him off the Supreme Court. You know, I hope he goes ham on them in the administration, the Trump administration. But I'm happy. One thing I'm really happy about is that Ossoff has pulled outside of that margin where Purdue can ask for a recount. It looks like he is beyond that margin of error. So now he's just won flat out, just outright. There's no recount that's going to be requested, which means we don't have to wait days or weeks or months or whatever for that vote to be certified and for him to be sworn in. So I'm happy for that.
Yep. T-Streams, they can take office tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. How do you feel about the history that was made in Georgia and hopefully making history, getting this country back on a good track? Uh-oh, did we lose you?
Man, I think it was a good look, and I think you see me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. Yeah, man. I think it was a good look. And the people of Georgia did what they were supposed to do. And it definitely helps, because I do know Joe is going to come in. He's going to try to shake things up and try to enforce his vision or whatever. And like Larry said, it just sort of makes it easier when you have more constituents in these places to help you get your stuff, get your agenda pushed. So it was a good look. It was almost I don't even know how it was even close, but it is what it is. The outcome is done. The folks in Georgia said, hey, we're done with the same old game you guys been running off playing. Now, the only thing we need now is for the other states to start adopting the same principles, because some of these hobos need to get up out of there. They need to be up out of there.
And here's the thing, Lamont, is that obviously I have my own stuff that I want Biden to do and the administration to do. But here's one thing that having the control of the Senate right now is going to do for the country. And that is, it's going to be able to help get COVID relief out the door quickly.
Absolutely.
Like it took from May until December for the Republican senators to finally come up and agree to a measly $600 direct payments to people, plus whatever else was in that bill. It took them from May until December. So when you have control of the Senate, now you have Chuck Schumer that can just simply say, we're bringing that shit to the floor next week. It's coming up for a vote. Nancy Pelosi already has her bills ready to go. All she has to do is simply say, yep, they're ready to go. Here you go, Chuck, vote on them. And he can call them to the floor, have the vote, and then let the Republicans up there show the American people that in the middle of a pandemic, when they're lining up for 10, 12, 15 miles to get into a food bank, that the Republican senators are voting against them getting aid. That's what you can do. And you keep on putting those aid bills up there. You keep on voting on them. And if the Republicans vote against them, then you keep taking note of them. Mm-hmm. And when it comes time to run against those people, you sit up there and you said, remember last year or the year before that, when everybody in this country was scared to death they were going to die of a pandemic, and then the other people were afraid they were going to die from starvation because they didn't have any money to buy food? Well, guess what? These are the men and women that voted to keep you in starvation. These are the men and women that voted to keep you in poverty. These are the men and women that voted not to extend your unemployment rights. That, your unemployment benefits. That is what you do. So you vote. And if they decide they're going to vote for it and go along with you and vote for the aid, then that's much better. Fine. If you have Republicans in office that you can work with, cool, leave them there. I'm about the best interests of the country. I honestly don't give a damn what letter you have before or after your name. I don't care if it's an R or a D. If you're gonna vote and act in the best interest of this country, cool. I mean, look at the governor from Maryland. He's a Republican, but he seems like he is in the best interest of his state, the people, and this country. And I think because of that, he's in office, and a lot of people don't care that he's a Republican. What they do care about is that he seems to be working in the best interest of the country and his state.
Oh, by the way, Buzz, I didn't forget about you, and I'm very appreciative. So, you ain't got to throw no flamethrowers at me like that, because I do appreciate you coming through, showing that love every single time we get up here and do this live stream. And we keep politics and a lot of our Black-based history stuff just for you and Trust to see. So stick with it, brother. Sometimes we get on a roll, and I tend to forget to come back and thank you people that super chat. So forgive me for that. I got y'all's back. T Streams.
What's happening?
Do you think this guy right here, who is a Democrat in West Virginia, is he going to be a problem for Joe Biden getting some of his initiatives across? Because he tends to run borderline Republican because he's a senator that's a Democrat in West Virginia. Do you think he's going to muck up the waters for Joe Biden too much? Because he's been in the news and he's been all on Fox News saying that he doesn't have this liberal agenda and all this shit. Do you think he's going to get on the bandwagon and do what he needs to do for the people?
Yeah, he's not going to be no problem. He's not going to be no problem. He'll probably try to kick his tail a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be very much of a problem. It's too much going on right now, and the powers that be, they know how to pull him by his tie, and straighten him out a little bit.
I sure hope so, because
he talks a good game, like Biden ain't gonna be able to do nothing, just because of his, he's more what they call it, where they center on either side of the fence, but I don't think he's gonna pose too much of a threat.
I hope not.
Yeah, he can. If it looks like he's trying to be a threat to everything and trying to vote against everything and stuff like that, they know how to handle it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I want to move us to something that's a little bit more lighthearted. We definitely going to pick back up on some of these stories on Friday, but I want to pick up on something lighthearted, and I'll give you guys a choice. Do you want to do something that's dealing with TV shows or something dealing with comic book movies? Larry, you get to pick.
Let's go with comic book movies.
I thought you might say that, my brother. Zack Snyder dropped this picture. And in case you people are wondering what this picture was, this is the first recorded photograph of war in 1850. And they superimposed Wonder Woman in it because you can't see in this photo, she's holding a bunch of heads in her hand, but you can see it in this photo that I put a circle on. In her hand is head she's holding. That was supposed to be in Batman versus Superman. And Zack Snyder put that out there because they are getting ready to launch the Zack Snyder cut on HBO Max. And he put that out there to kind of get some buzz. And he wrote an article about how he wanted that in there, but he caught flack from Warner Brothers. They didn't want it to be that grim. Larry, speak on it. That's your story, and you picked it.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is how Wonder Woman was going to be portrayed. She was going to be the badass warrior like that. And instead, once Patty Jenkins got a hold of her, she just turned her into, I don't know what, some love-struck girl, you know? Mm-hmm. And instead of the gangster-ass warrior that she is. And that's what I want to see this Wonder Woman. I want to see this Wonder Woman. I don't know if Patty Jenkins and Zack Snyder need to sit down and have a powwow, or if one of them needs to go, whatever. But I want to see that Wonder Woman because I think that Wonder Woman is far more interesting and far more compelling as a character than the sort of stupid lovesick chick who's running around with Trevor, with Steve Trevor. I mean, It's just annoying. It's like every single story with women, it's like they refuse to tell the story with women unless it has something to do with the damn man and some love interest with a man. I mean, she was a warrior. She was a warrior from a place that didn't even have men, and now they just make her come off as if she's just some lovesick little girl. I'm like, come on, man, she's better than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And a lot of people don't even know she has a black sister who they need to bring into the DC universe. T Streams, how would you have felt?
Yeah, a black older sister.
Black older sister. How would you have felt if they would have brought that on the big screen and took Wonder Woman in a more darker direction? Because me, Buzz, and Larry, and all our comic folks, we always say DC makes the best cartoons, and it's usually because those cartoons have a darker theme. So how did you feel if they would have took Wonder Woman more dark on the big screen?
Yeah, man, I think any approach would have been better for this particular movie. You know, it was just straight whack. But yeah, I think they look too much into her humanity, I suppose, her humanity traits or characteristics than as of her being a superhero. Because they sort of watered it down. Like you said, it basically was an amped up love story, you know. I would have loved to see I would have loved to see her running around, doing things like, handling things like she's supposed to have been. It would have been a lot more interesting movie. And so I can't wait to see what this Snyder Cut sort of has in store. I'm hoping it's something that definitely does it justice, because right now, everything is sort of teetering on whack or meh. So it's either okay or it's just whack. I'm ready to see something dynamic, something actually compelling, good, and straight action when it comes to them superhero movies. I mean, goddamn, they superhero movies. That's what that's what you want to see. You don't want to see an Amazon god. You don't want to see her, teared up, laying in the corner because she had to send her boyfriend back. That's me. Somebody else love stories might be good.
As much as I love Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot, as sexy as she is, we don't need to see any more booty meat from Wonder Woman. We just don't need that. I mean, cover her up. I love Wonder Woman. I think she's sexy, but there's a certain level of respect you should put on your superheroes. So, put some respect on it.
It seems like what they did, Larry, instead of making her dark to scare the kids, they tried to make her more of a sex symbol, because they didn't taper that down. So no. I don't understand why the hell you're trying to taper down having a darker story if you ain't going to taper down the sex appeal. So, I don't know. But last story I got for y'all, and y'all might call me corny, y'all might call me whack, but guess what? I've been called so many names in my life, I just don't really give a damn. I go to sleep looking at myself in the mirror. We're going to review one of my favorite TV shows. It's called The Resident. Season 4 comes on. It stars Morris Chestnut, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and a great, great cast of people. And it comes back on next week with WandaVision. Let me let y'all see this trailer so y'all can understand how it is. And it also got my chick, not Heidi Heitkamp, but she's a politician. The chick from Marvel, I can't think of her name, but you'll figure her out.
Hi, I'm Emily Van Camp on the set of The Resident. Here's a look at the new season.
The new season of The Resident is explosive. We pick up on the heels of the pandemic.
What do? We join the front lines.
And we deal with it in a way that only The Resident can, in a very personal way.
These were our healthcare workers who died in the line of duty.
Everything ramps up. The love relationships ramp up.
What? Fans are getting that Conrad and Nick wedding that they always wanted.
It's an exciting time for them when you think about all the things that they've been through. Tough times come. When they do, Conrad, I want you by my side.
Seeing love amongst our peers, you begin to honor the relationships that you have.
You built something special.
There are so many changes in each of the characters' lives.
I'll be here whenever you need me.
We're going to experience the most riveting and life-affirming stories we have told so far.
When all hell breaks loose, you find out what people are made of.
You're in for an emotional roller coaster this season.
Woo, wait, get your popcorn.
What network is that on?
That's Fox, baby. Get your popcorn ready. It looks like they're finally going to let Malcolm Jamal Warner's character, who's Dr. A.J. Austin, the best cardiologist in America, get it on with Mina, who was the same chick that was in Black Panther in the very beginning. And then you got my boy Trzynski, who is marrying Emily Van Camp, and he's the resident. The show centers around him. And they've got a story in the background with Morris Chestnut being a crooked brain surgeon working for a crooked, the name of the hospital organization is called Red Rock. And they are only about one thing, which is making money, even if it means cutting corners. And their franchise player is Morris Chestnut's character. But they've had a situation where Morris Chestnut's character is so arrogant. He's so above people that he's beyond reproach. Well, they had an incident with him and A.J. Austin, who started out the same way. And now Mina has softened him, and they've been building on that love story between those two for about 2 seasons. And they've also been kind of building on the animosity between him and Morris Chestnut, because you got 2 alpha male doctors, one who's used to being a nomad and the other one who likes the limelight, about to head it up. And now they have named the head resident, as the head of the organization, with still these lingering issues going on in the hospital. Now you throw COVID into it. I can't wait. I might have my review up. I might go live immediately after the show go off. So, but that's all we got for y'all tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back on Friday. Go ahead, T-Stream. Oh,
yeah, I said I'm gonna have to check that out. I don't know. I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Can you see me?
It's just, yeah, we can see you, but you
okay, yeah.
You might have to upgrade your internet.
Man, I got 1 gigabyte here at the house, but I'm in my basement office, so I might have to slide some extenders or something around here. Yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out. I've been checking out that binge watching that Snowfall, trying to catch up on that. Boy, that's dope. I like it, man.
Larry, that y'all putting pressure on me, man. That show come out next month. I don't
You
know if
haven't watched it yet, huh?
I'm trying to go through it piece by piece, man, but I got to catch up because I need to start putting out videos now so I can get into the rhythm, the algorithm before it starts. You know how it go. So I've got to catch up. You already know the story. T-Streams is on the story. I got to get on the story.
Yeah, it's good. You'll like it, I think.
Yep. So, well, that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe. Encourage everybody to do the right thing, not just for their own house, but democracy in this country. And we'll be back on Friday. We've got a special guest, a real estate brother of mine who's doing big things in Atlanta. It's going to come up here for a segment and just talk about some of the things he's doing in real estate. And we'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.